Ryan, are you ready for some fun today?
Oh, I am ready, my friend.
I'm going to take a break from all the deep philosophical theory of life and writing and speaking. Today we're going to talk about humor.
Oh, that is a fun topic.
You consider yourself a funny man, Ryan?
Didn't bring my clown nose today, but sometimes.
Okay, so in that spirit, let's start off with a drink. Boop. Bye-bye, sorority. Now, there's a lot of reasons this is coming up, but to make it matter, so we have a direction for today, there's a show that I liked a lot called Diggnation. And it was a tech podcast. It came about maybe 20 years ago in the early days of Silicon Valley when they finally had just gotten enough that there grew this new type of nerd that actually had social skills. And they did podcasts and the really early ones. And we did an episode recently talking about Diggnation when we did a style of our podcast like that. This year they restarted. So that got me thinking about it again and then analyzing it again. And now after everything we've learned from doing stuff, I saw a lot that I never saw before. And one thing, I realized that this was one of the most foundational things that made me want to do this work. It was far further back than beginning with the drones. It was watching this podcast. And there was this feeling of, I love what this is. I don't really understand it, but I want this. I want my life to be like this. And there's the idea of they were both entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. They created something valuable to people out of nothing. And not through having a ton of staff, but just in their room working and thinking hard and doing something really clever. That's been baked into me so much that till this day, that's a large part of why I want to do an online business, why I want to be a creator. And it wasn't until I watched this episode last week that it hit me, motherfucker, it's not the tech knowledge they have. It's not how good they were at coding or even how good they were at business. It's a bloody live improv show. And I never realized. The two hosts, the most entertaining one, the star of the show, is an improv comedian. He's trained in it. He's professionally done it.
There's something special about a good podcast like that where it makes you feel like you're friends with the people on it. You're no longer just an audience member. You are a friend.
Perfect point. And that is why we're going to do this. Vin Jang said his best explanation of humor is you hit that narrow line in somebody where here's something that's so, they agree with it so much that it's boring. And they disagree with it so much that it's offensive. But you hit that narrow line in between. And that's when you laugh. It's just a little bit offensive, but not too much. The only way you can hit that is if you have so much empathy that you can know that individual person's two lines. So you can know what that small sliver between is. If someone makes you laugh, immediately you have proof that they know you so well to know where that line is for you. And that's why humor makes you immediately feel like you know someone really well. You feel really close to them immediately.
Such a great way of looking at things and goes hand in hand with, I believe I've talked about this before. It was a rule from Brian Brushwood on how to get out of a parking ticket, or not a parking ticket, a speeding ticket. And it was, if you can make them laugh in the first 5 seconds, they will think of you as a friend. And outside of your very good friends, would you give a friend you are just getting to know better a speeding ticket? No, probably not.
Exactly. And you can start to imagine how many situations this is powerful in. I will tell you, every branch that I've studied where they talk about sales, or we're talking Charlie Hubert's charisma, making first impressions really well, the number one thing is the first thing you do is you have to make them feel fun, that this is play. I've been in a number of situations where I screwed up the empathy really bad listening skills, work in progress, but it was so much worse before. And I foot in my mouth really bad. But I led with like the big attitude of smile, and I'm happy, and they could tell, okay, he clearly wants me to be happy. The words coming out of his mouth, he's attempting to have me have a good time today. And they give me a pass. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm not going to give you a ticket. I'm not going to slap you in the face. I'm going to calmly say, how about we try this kind of joke? Or why don't we go get that kind of food? Because you led with fun. That's the magic key, the skeleton key that opens every door. Humor is the most powerful version of that. But if you're warming up to it, just any kind of fun, if you start the interaction with that, this even applies to hard nails business meetings. People will go, all right, I'm going to give this guy a try. I will give him at least one bonus life to screw up something in this meeting that normally it would have been instant death.
Absolutely. I use this same trick at work all the time. I'm always making quick jokes based off what people tell me they want. Uh, One of my favorites, and I stole this shamelessly from one of my other coworkers. Uh, if we say, "Hey, what are we looking for in a good vodka or something?" They say, "Oh no, I'm good." All right, well, what are we looking for in a bad one? And just break that ice a little bit, get them to laugh and go, all right, fine, this is what I'm after.
And that is a beautiful skill in that kind of informal thing. This we have to customize for our unique situations a fair amount. So that I actually want to talk about ongoing with you. I don't think that's something we can answer in a single episode. Today, we're going to get the foundations. I want to cover what are the genres of humor. My writing teacher, George Blackman, guess what? Very successful. Everybody likes listening to his ads. Everyone wants to be his student. Improv comedian. When I asked him this question, his just blank face. He had no idea. Genres of humor? What are we even talking about? If you know what the genres of humor are, you have a roadmap to start discussing with other people, get a sense of what yours might be, and then you can start honing it in on that. Maybe more important, you have your radar out for, this person I'm trying to make, feel close to me. What is his type of humor? It's hard to guess, but at least you'll know what are the possibilities and start making that initial connection really fast. Because it seems that with the people you already know, it's low stakes. The highest stakes are when it's someone you've just met and you need to really rapidly figure out what is their type of humor and say something short, but instantly that's going to make them laugh. So today, we're going to dive into, according to ChatGPT, what are the genres of humor? Who could I ask to have more empathy than a robot?
Oh, that's just poetry right there.
It's still going to be better than I am. So we got 6 overarching ones, starting off with a nice, cute brain emoji. Intellectual humor, made of wordplay, satire, and parody. So let's start off wordplay and puns.
Oh, I've
go through this.
The best example of this already.
So for each of these, I want to get a quick thumbs up or thumbs down, and then see if we can dig into, yeah, I knew it. And then try to see if you can think of an example of somebody. And just in general, take this where we go, because this is freaking Indiana Jones uncharted territory. Hardly anybody is analyzing this stuff. Go.
Oh, I've got the best example right off the bat. Abbott and Costello, who's on first? Classic. That is timeless humor right there. Just so well done. And it is very witty. Now, it's not a quick wit. It's not coming up with it right off the bat, but it feels like it. It feels like a natural conversation, even though this is written and rehearsed so many times.
I would say it's... I can be on the fly. What's that Mark?
There's examples of it
Norman.
on the fly, but the Abbott and Costello one is they definitely perform that many times, and it shows with how polished it is.
Hmm. That's an interesting point. So we have scripted and unscripted puns. And this one definitely gives Ryan's definitely giving a thumbs up.
I think there is a distinction between wordplay, as in just fun, double meaning, quick wit, versus just dad joke level. And I like both of them. Don't get me wrong, but the amount of effort it takes to do them, I feel like, is significantly different.
Okay, so for Ryan, this is getting a thumbs up. For Ethan, these bother me.
Oh man, no.
That's all the more impressive when someone's so masterful of it that you still hook me.
The again, I think there's a difference between. I'm hoping the ones you don't like are when does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes a parent level of just stupid pun versus quick wordplay, double meaning, double entendres, that type of thing.
Little side point, it's gonna be good. The power of doing it well versus doing it poorly. Maybe this falls under this. Growing up, my whole life, I've been really terrible at listening. I over-explain everything and I ramble like nuts. And I realized that the reason why I grew up in the 80s, every single sitcom, all the humor was, oh, that was an obvious misunderstanding. Ho, 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 ho. So as a child, I had this baked in panic of you have to over-explain everything like a retard. Otherwise, your wife's going to divorce you. You're going to get sent to jail and maybe executed. So, of course, I over-explain every bloody thing and to the end of the days. That is a tangible, really bad impact that happened to an entire generation based off on a bad execution of humor.
See, I had the other side of that coin where it was, yeah, the good guys are telling the bad guys, like, oh, yeah, this is what's going to happen. Watch out. Wink, wink. And you know, as the audience, oh, they're just being clever with their words. And they're actually telling the bad guys that they're going to get them or something. But the bad guys are just oblivious. And it's one of those just reverse where instead of it getting them in trouble, it just makes them look smart and witty.
Though this would be that's really great. If I was exposed to the people you're rooting for using this as a tool, awesome. Every time for me, it was always the person you're supposed to root for getting screwed over by it. And like I never understood how the person I'm rooting for is getting screwed over is funny either. So I don't know how much on the fly we wanted to do, but it'd be good to start collecting what were the versions of this that were good. And then I could collect the versions that were bad and side by side compare next time.
Oh, I feel like there is Bond films galore where he was making puns while undercover or something. That's got to be a thing.
I'm going to make a note here for us to make a list of this next time. This has been opening a can, but it slowly foams out. So over the weekend, it'll come to you, and then you just won't be able to stop thinking about it, but not turning it into a job today. So then let's move on to satire, using humor to criticize social, political, or cultural norms. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Depends. I'm going to be right in the middle on this one. This one's a gray area depending on how well it's done.
I would also say it matters so much how well it's done, but this is one of my top favorite types of humor.
When it's done well, it is just beyond approach. It is fantastic. But when it is done not coming across as satire, it comes more across as just criticism and laughing at you. It is the quickest way to make people your enemy.
That is exactly the core that I was thinking too. I've been thinking about this a lot. and I have a theory of explanation for it, but tell me more about your thought first.
My thought is you have to genuinely appreciate and maybe even enjoy what you're being satirical about.
Mm-hmm.
If you are coming from a place where the audience understands, hey, I like this, but I'm going to criticize it because it's not perfect and it's going to be funny the way I do it, versus I don't like this. Here's the problems. You should laugh at it with me.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah, 100% on that. The way it's always has felt to me is if it's humor, it's fun. So is it fun or is it propaganda? If you actively have a thing that I need to agree with and not agreeing with it is intolerable, then we're not playing. We're just being lectured. And I don't pay money to lecture me.
Real quick, did my camera drop off for you?
Yeah, it did. Why you all
All
dark
right.
suddenly?
I don't know what happened. Said I have lost Wi-Fi. Why did that happen? Let's go back in. Oh, I'm upside
Now you're
down.
upside down like Spider-Man.
How did this happen? There we go.
There we go.
Okay, that was new. Interesting. All right. I'm not centered again either, am I?
Beautiful. There I go. I see pretty good.
All right. That was interesting. I don't know what happened there, but we're just going to continue like nothing did. Where were we?
Now, the most clear way I found to sum this up, I found this as my razor's edge North Star. Is this person enjoying hating someone? That's something, I don't know about you, I have never found pleasure in. Whether it's comedy, official politics on TV, or a formal drama, there's a lot of stuff where you can tell it's meant for these people who hate that group to enjoy hating that group. And even if I agree with them, it feels like garbage. It feels like rooting for someone torturing somebody. Like, I can't take pleasure in that. It makes me feel gross.
Absolutely.
And that's what I hear when I hear these comedians go like, oh, this politician, blah, what an idiot. Here's all the horrible things about him. Yay, they're failing. I'm like, okay, you're mean and angry, and that's the opposite of the fun. I came here to walk out with a good mood. Could you make me a funner, warmer person when I come to see the comedian? That's what I'm like.
Absolutely. It's got to come from a place of love. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
Now, it can still be bad and you can still love it. Like, I absolutely adore Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Don't get me wrong, Army of Darkness is a great movie. But I will be the first to say, yeah, this is a horrible movie. You should absolutely watch it, though.
Yeah. And that's, man, honestly, I think this is why I love it so much. Because when someone does that, they take something that even I look at and go like, you know what? That's not good. That does not make my life better. I just like that. And then they go, well, how about this? And I'm actually having fun with it. And like, you are a magician. You took something bad and turned it into good. Like, we can actually find something enjoyable about this thing. Literally have made my world a better place with your jokes.
So what do you think is one of the best examples of this?
Cyrus. Can't pronounce his name. I will have to put it in the notes. He is, I just know him on Instagram. He only performs in California, which I will never go. But every single skit is just pure amazing. He starts off with something that's in the edge of controversial in the current events. He writes these fresh pretty much every day. And it's usually something that I would disagree with. And he goes, yeah, we can't be having that. But his thing is not that you shouldn't be doing that. He's like, they're not doing it enough. And then immediately pivots to the most unhinged version of it possible. But instead of ripping at it and you're like, this is why you're such idiots for thinking, like, no, he's like, if we go completely insane on it, and it'll be, we're going to travel through time, or, Cthulhu's gonna come back and he's actually gonna like help clean the oceans, or just something so unhinged where no one can be mad at this, and it's funny, and it's like, oh man, yeah, good job. That takes some wit. That takes a lot of knowledge to be able to weave that needle.
I think you've sent me some of his work before. I think you have. That rings a bell.
It's like Saturn's Natterpore or something like that.
That was good. If it's the one I'm thinking of, that was very funny. I gotta say though, I think my favorite still has got to be George Carlin.
George Carlin, classic one, right?
Yep, another classic.
Love it.
God, some of his just bits I still reference on a regular basis. One of my favorites is, "Your stuff is stuff, but other people's stuff is shit."
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much good stuff in there. And he takes things to the point where it's ridiculous, but everyone's laughing. Doesn't matter where you are, what your beliefs are. It's very grounded.
Is there any particular special that I would start off with? If I was going to be a George Carlin newbie, where would you send me?
Oh, goodness. I would probably tell you specifically, Ethan, look up, I don't know what the name of the special would be, but look up the bit specifically. It's either Why God is a Man is hilarious, first of all, or I think it's the same bit or same part of it, the fact that he is worshiping the sun now. Both of them are great, definitely satirical and poke holes at religion, but in a way to where it's funny. He says he's praying to Joe Pesci. And all his complaints about religion are absolutely valid, that they make sense, there's no hiding it, but it's taken to a point of ridiculousness, just like the guy you mentioned, Cyrus, where it's, okay, yeah, we can't be mad at this. I mean, no one's going to join him in worshiping the sun and praying to Joe Pesci. But if we're going to be ridiculous, why not?
Yeah, I'll check that out. This is going to be fun. Because of that, I want to make an addition here. One of the goals, I hope, is that we can flesh out what actually we think all the genres should be. So look at some and go, actually, I don't think that genre counts. It's just basically part of another one. Or do you think that GPT missed a genre that's important and we need to add some more? And one I want to add right now, and we'll see if it comes up later in the list: absurdist humor. It's not specifically satire, but just the pure fact that it's so absurd is supposed to be the thing we're supposed to laugh at.
I could see that. That definitely makes sense, absurdism. And I'd argue that you see this a lot in some of those classic animated humor shows like The Simpsons, South Park, that sort of thing.
For me, Looney Tunes went too far where I don't feel any connection that it could have possibly made sense, and I don't laugh at all. But things like South Park, where it's so absurd, but I see what you're connecting to, it makes me laugh.
I get the feeling this is probably going to be a later category, but I'd say Looney Tunes is more slapstick. It's more physical gags.
It's definitely that. That's probably his primary thing, yeah. Now, I would say on this absurdist is probably one of my cornerstones. So hopefully we get into it in another category. If not, we'll come back to it. But all the really offensive humor I like is for this reason. It's not like I enjoy angrily hating people and making them feel bad. Clearly, I've already said that's the opposite of what I like. I like these because these ideas seem so fucking ridiculous that it's absurd. And that's the part that makes me laugh. I'm like, sure. I had a friend once, and his mom was from the New England area, and she was coming down. I'm like, okay, well, make sure to have your son pick up because, women aren't allowed to drive down here. And that's the ridiculous thing. Of course women are allowed to drive down here. She just got angry. Like, you live in one of the most protected places in the world, and you're you're really worried that someone someday might not let you drive? Like, what's happened? I'm really sad now. Like, we need to look into how
If you think that's
she's
a
stressing out.
general concern, that's a troublesome sign.
Yeah, right. You know, what's your husband doing to you?
Yeah, I
Which brings
fully agree with that. The absurdism, it has to be absurd enough to where people don't think it's a possibility.
right. Which brings us back to the empathy, where you have to be able to look somebody in the eyes or read just some subtle tells about who they are in the first minute you meet them to know, okay, these are the things that will seem reasonable to them. And that wouldn't be an absurdist joke for them. It involves a lot of listening. And I think one of the top reasons why I'm really excited about this, and I want us to spend time in the future on this too, I think this is the best way to develop your listening skills.
Just humor in general and trying to find where people's values are at for that.
Exactly. This is going to give us the vocabulary to know what to look for. Like you're tracking an animal. Like we're hunters now. Okay, I know that there's bears, wolves, and elk. Okay, there's 3 things I need to start learning the footprints for. And then when you're talking with people, like, oh, well, what type of animal is this person? And I think we'll start developing that skill really fast to develop one of the highest levels of listening, empathy skills there is.
I like that. That is definitely not a way I have looked at things before.
No one has. I think I'm inventing this from scratch, and it all seems true. So let's move on. And if we don't hit absurdism at the end, we'll come back to this. Third under intellect is parody. Parody, it says humor that imitates a specific genre, work, or person for comedic effect. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Is this not even a separate genre?
I'm leaning more thumbs down on this one. There are specific examples I can think of that are great, but 90% of them I've seen I do not like.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. On some level, these genres have the fish effect, where if you do it really well, it's amazing. And if you do it really badly, it's just horrible. And other ones, good or bad, is still going to be pretty decent. But parody has been good for me for drama. But for humor, it seems to stink up the room real bad, real fast.
Parody, it's like satire, where if it comes across disingenuous, it just feels insulting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like Robin Williams doing an impression, oh my god, it's magical.
That I feel like there's an extra dimension here. This is why I wanted to do this. Because if you imitate someone's accent and go, I can't do it. But like, haha, I'm Bill Clinton. I run Arkansas. I'm having a great day. Like, okay, that's the person. That's not interesting. But if you find some kind of interesting twist on it, that's when it becomes humor. And the twist isn't the satire. The satire is just a setup so you could put this person in a situation, and that's a completely different bucket of fun, you know?
Absolutely. And again, Robin Williams, I still think one of the best comedians ever. He was so gifted with being able to do accurate representations of people and put them in the funniest things possible. I
There
mean,
we go.
he'd switch between 3, 4 different characters in one bit. And the whole time it feels like you're going up and down a roller coaster and there's momentum and it's just, again, magical. It brings you into a story doing it that way.
I'd say Aladdin. Peak. And it was not that, oh my gosh, he did this character, that's funny. This was how he just set a stage where here's a scene of something happening, and we have this character, and this character, and every satire he did, every parody he did was adding that character which mattered. I'm making a joke about this topic. This person's needed for that. He shows up and does that one line.
And again, all of the parodies, all the improv everything. It was done so well that it felt real. It didn't feel disingenuous ever. It didn't feel disconnected. I still think one of the greatest moments in comedy is Robin Williams talking about golf, of all things. In that short bit, which is probably an insanely long bit for any other rational person, but for Robin Williams, a short bit, he does a Scottish accent talking about the rules of golf. He does Tiger Woods. He does a Brazilian soccer announcer screaming goal for the ball going in the hole. It's just, again, the momentum. It has purpose. It's done well. It's not making fun of anyone. It's all from a loving place. And it's so good that way. But then you look at something where, I don't know, let's say like Scary Movie, where they're just making fun of other movies and the tropes that are in them and pointing out how ridiculous they are. Is it popular? Sure. Does it feel as magical? Absolutely not.
I think that would be the line would make not fit into the intellectual humor category anymore.
Absolutely.
But these examples, especially on parody, this is really proving how right you were that it being done with love is the secret ingredient. You know, you could tell that Robin Williams loved all of the characters he was doing.
Oh my God, yeah. And I don't think there was ever a time where he realized, I can do this character. I'm only going to do it once. It was, oh no, I'm going to bring them back. We're going to use them again and again because I can do this voice now.
One thing that might be another category or might not, but you were talking about, parody, but just pure impersonation. This is one thing I've noticed from watching George do his work. He'll be doing, like, this is serious work. This is not supposed to be funny or entertaining. But he gets so much extra juice, extra ability and power in his functional work from his ability to set a stage of imaginary people. He does voices, he can do all this impersonation stuff. And whether it's zero humor, a little bit of humor, or a lot, that ability to do that, we're like, oh, we have a guy from Boston, and then there's a guy from Manchester, and whatever context comes with that, it doesn't even have to be humorous context. It's just, I can explain this idea to you in half the words, just because you know what these people are probably going to be, what baggage they're going to bring into this situation. And that is another way, I think, huge lever of power in your work-based communication skills if you master humor.
Absolutely. One thing that I think is very interesting that I've started to see happen more and more is I don't know if I want to call them comedians, influencers, but people on social media who post just quick little clips of themselves and doing funny bits will make characters that don't actually exist, but we all know and have interacted with people who are like that. To where they're not making fun of anyone specific, but we all know there is people like that out there. Absolutely. We all know them. We've all interacted with them. And it's, again, not targeted, but it feels grounded.
Grounded. That's a good word. Grounded impersonations.
It doesn't feel absurd. It might be taking their character to an absurd level, but we still know the character even though they don't actually exist.
This is something I want to put a pin in. I think this is huge and has a lot more in the functional communication area. So let's come back to this in a future episode and dive even deeper on that. Now, next one, big category, dark and confrontational humor.
Ooh.
Got a little devil emoji from ChatGPT on this one. Starting with dark and gallows humors. Joke about death, illness, trauma, or other taboos.
I feel like this is most widely accepted when you're talking about something that you personally have gone through. if you're talking like, hey, yeah, let's make fun of kids with cancer, people are gonna, you're gonna get attention, but it's probably not gonna be the attention you want. Versus if you're saying, yeah, I'm gonna talk about some dark shit that happened to me, but we're gonna find it funny because that's
Oh,
how I got through it. All of a
I.
sudden, you have the whole emotional draw, but everyone's still on your side rooting for you.
Mm, mm. And what can you think you can do with that type of emotional draw that you maybe couldn't do with the other types of humor?
Again, it's so controversial that what you're saying, people are going to just, doesn't matter if they're paying half attention to you, they hear something like that, they just whip their head around, look at you, and are just focused in on what the did you just say?
I think
There
this gets.
is so little to get people's attention like that as quickly.
He's saying the thing we're not allowed to.
Yep.
Hearing you talk about it, I think this would also have the power of polarization. If it's something that is going to bother a lot of people, the people who like it are likely to like it very intensely. And we've just been talking this week with some other coaches. It's more important for you to have 100 people who really like what you're doing than it is to be Mr. Beast and having a million people like, oh, I like it. I watch it for a couple of minutes every day. If you're selling the type of things I sell, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of people like you little, because that's not enough for them to spend the time, much less the money, not even invest the time it would take to do the lessons you're trying to teach. And what you're
Absolutely.
describing, it's not political polarization of us versus them. It's, okay, I had this experience, so I can make jokes about it. And all the people who haven't had that experience, like, this feels really uncomfortable. I trust it's okay. He's allowed to talk about it, but I am really uncomfortable. The other people in the audience who also had that experience, like, brother, I've been there, I'm in. And
Even the people who are currently going through it, it helps lighten their mood, I feel like.
this is the number one power I see. We've talked about this in other types of communication. If you can start with something sad and immediately get to something fun, that tells everybody I'm okay. I know the solution for this problem because I got through it. But most importantly, for the next 10 minutes you're with me, it's going to be a good time. I'm not going to leave you all dark and depressed and cry and make you feel bad. We're going to talk about important, serious things, but you can let go of like the freak out breaks because we got some laughs in here.
Absolutely. And I think stand up comics are probably the best version of this. I mean, their storytelling, I I think Jim Gaffigan had not, well, maybe it's been out for a while now, a special where he had like a heart attack in the woods or something like that. And I don't remember the specifics.
Oh,
It came out
yeah.
a while ago, but he had to get like a helicopter come in and take him out and everything. And he was making jokes about it. The audience was eating it up because it's funny. He's telling it in a way where he's laughing at it too, and we know he's okay because he's up on the stage talking to us right now. But God, if that happened to us, we'd be terrified.
Yeah. I think I'm seeing an overlaying thread of like the best humor that I personally love, and maybe you too, is taking something and making it better than it was before. Instead of we're going to take something and make it even more negative than before.
Now, there's definitely people who enjoy that, and if it's propaganda for something you already believe in, you're probably going to enjoy it. But it's, I don't know, it's just not my style. It's not what I like.
I would personally say I think this may be the reason for the big decline in humor in the last 15 years or so, where people stop trying to use humor for lifting it up. The fact that I'm sitting here talking with right now, and this seems like a novel, strange idea. Oh, humor making people more happy, humor building things up instead of tearing things down. really? Jokes can do that? I think that's what they were supposed to do always. And then we just went insane for a brief period where all humor was just angry and hurtful and negative.
Now, do you personally believe that if you're putting yourself in any position of political power, you should get made fun of and you should get belittled so that way you don't get an ego? But still, there's a way to do that that's constructive. Let's put it that way.
Constructive. Yeah, I agree with both parts of that. Because I don't want anything to be off limits or nothing off limits. But it shouldn't be, again, I enjoy hurting people kind of vibe.
You shouldn't just say, this person sucks, and expect a round of applause.
Yeah. Like, this person's got cancer now. Ha ha ha. What the hell? Come on.
We use that as an absurd joke, but it's also probably accurate to what some people have done.
Yeah, you see that every day. Yeah, it's like, that does not exactly make me want to let you be in my living room tomorrow. Are there any examples of dark humor that you would like to add?
There is one show, I couldn't tell you what they're called, but their clips pop up on Instagram for me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this panel of like 3, maybe 4 comedians, and they have just like amateur stand-up type people come on stage, tell some jokes, interact with them a little bit, tell them a little bit about themselves. And my God, some of these amateurs that have come up have been just hilarious. I remember they had a girl who was in a wheelchair making jokes. They had a guy who was from like Ukraine or Russia. And he was like, yeah, I got a puppy growing up and didn't find out till years later that my dad just went into the woods and brought back a wolf pup and gave it to me. And that explains why it mauled the shit out of my face. And it's just one of those... If anyone else said this, it would be a horrible stereotype, but here you are and you lived it. You've got the scars to prove it.
Is it this?
I have no idea.
Kill Tony is definitely that format, and man, that's been pretty good stuff.
Maybe. Again, could not tell you. It only pops up as clips for me on social media. Next time I see one, I will forward it to you, and you can add it to the show notes or something.
Exactly. Perfect. Love it. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
Again, if done well, thumbs up. But I feel like with political climate, everything that's going on, it's continuously been getting worse and worse.
Okay, so it's sushi. It needs to be done well, otherwise it stinks.
I think that's what we're going to find as a running theme in this.
For me, I don't like dark humor. Every time I'm talking with someone that I respect and like, and they send me something that they think's hilarious and I don't like it, it's always dark humor. And the political stuff, we got that. Intense stuff, I got that too. I understand. But man, what was that? There was some movie a little while ago. I think it had Matt Damon in it, and they're supposed to be bodybuilders who like do some sort of drug heist and end up having to torture people for information. And it's this black, dark comedy. And like, this sounds horrible. I'm not going to laugh at somebody having their fingernails ripped out. This is not funny for me. And then there's cringe humor. I'm not going to name names because some people might not consider it humor, but like, oh, that person was so awkward, or oh, they just screwed up trying to talk to a girl so bad, and like, ha ha ha, like this is uncomfortable to watch. It's not funny. What is going on in people's brains that this is funny?
Okay, cringe humor, what you just described. This is going to be controversial, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but that is how I view The Office.
That was what I was trying not to say, because dive on that grenade for me, Ryan.
I'm going to jump on that live grenade. I can't stand it. All you're doing is watching someone who's awkward try and make jokes, and then it falls flat. Or, oh yeah, here's the guy who's slightly overweight and drops a bowl of chili. And we're supposed to laugh instead of feel bad for him or try and help him. It's just, no, I don't want that. Why? Because I know people who are like this. I have lived a life and seen people who are like this, and I don't want to bully them.
This is the thing where I'm rooting for that person. I know someone like that, and I want that person to get their. I want that chili to go well for that guy. I don't want to see it fall on the ground and laugh at him. I don't understand it at all.
Now, I get that from what I've seen, the later seasons and everything, you build up a relationship with these characters, you're meant to root for them, and things get better. But it's still, I don't understand why people have been so enamored with a show that just feels like you're watching someone get made fun of the entire time.
So this is a thing that's come up a lot. George is English. Right now, I realized all of my writing and speaking teachers are English, except for Vin, who's a whole lot of things at once. But anyway, this is most all their humor. He's teaching me a lot. He's a brilliant guy, George. But all the things he recommends that he likes, it's almost all cringe humor. And I'm starting to understand that's baked into the British sense of humor. And here, I'm going to show you this. Now, apparently, I did not realize it. Come on, just show me the image. There we go. There's a show called Mitchell and Webb, and he's raving about it. It's like a cornerstone of British culture, and it's one of his inspiring influences. And I watched a couple episodes, and I can tell, man, yes, these people are very talented. But this is where this meme comes from. If you've seen it. But every skit is something's a little off and a little weird, and why is this person so just stupid or wrong? And it just gets worse and worse until we're supposed to find it funny.
I think British humor, I don't like that side of it. And again, that's where the original Office was. Ricky Gervais is very popular. I tend to not like much of his work because of this, in my opinion. I think British humor really shines when it leans more into the absurdism. When you look at like Monty Python and things like that. That's where British humor, well, it's so dry, but is absurd, is when it's at its best to me.
That's a good thing. I'll look into that. I haven't noticed absurdism that much, but that's just because the people I'm talking to me are sharing their favorite stuff.
I feel like the more recent stuff is not that way, but again, you look at some of the classics like Monty Python, it is that dry, witty humor, but instead of belittling someone, it is just absurd. I'm going to try and return a dead parrot that you sold me, or here's self-defense using fruit.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and again, it's so magical because it's absurd, but in this world, everyone's just going about it so dry, like it's a normal, everyday thing for them.
This is a topic I wanted to have a couple subsections in itself, where it seems that British humor to me is more baked in than in America. One thing I'm getting through a lot of my communications teaching is taking people who have a science background like I do and help them unlearn the bad habits that we get when we're taught science that you need to change for speaking well, humor, all these other things. And every time I try to mention that, I get this confused look. There's three guys, they're all in England. They go, what? It's like, I'm starting to realize in England, even the nerds do sense of humor. Everybody, it's just baked in. Everybody has to have this sense of humor. So they don't have a thing where we need to teach the nerds how to make jokes. They are doing it too. But the downside on it is it seems that this sort of kind of tearing people down humor, you can call it self-deprecating, but laughing at somebody else is the same thing. It's just tearing somebody down, whether it's you or them. It seems to be baked into the whole culture.
I wonder if it has something to do with the size. I mean, that'd be like saying, yeah, everyone in Rhode Island has a similar sense of humor. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
It's a pretty small
Yeah.
subset relatively.
It's small
Versus,
enough to be uniform.
yes, that'd be like saying, yeah, everyone in the local surrounding area has pretty similar morals and values, so we have a lot of
Hmm.
things in common, especially our humor. It makes sense that way, but of course, there's probably outliers and everything.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, taking some notes here because I want to come back to a couple of these ideas later. One thing that, yeah, this part, it may just be a unique thing to them because they're small. It's relevant enough though, because it does seem like a large number of humor does come from England. It's, I don't particularly think of them as fashion icons, but yeah, I think England's really nailed humor a lot for most of my life. And one thing I keep running into is, the whole tall poppy syndrome. I can't tell you how many freaking podcasters go like, well, I moved to America because I want to try and build a giant business. And your friends just keep making fun of you for doing that. They try to tear you down if you try to do anything different, if you try to do anything big. Chris Williams says it, Bartlett says it, everybody says it. And it's like, I've heard it so many times from so many people. This is a new surprise, bro. Like, this didn't like sucker punch you. Like, what the fuck are you doing with it? I went to London last year, you remember, for that YouTube meetup. And I'm not going to name names, but I get in there and I walk past a bunch of this laughing Americans and go, like, I didn't fly across an ocean to talk to people I can see back home. I'm talking to this dude who lives in London, and he is killing it. He's got a huge channel, very successful. It's his full-time job. He lives off this money. And after some chat and learned a lot from me, he goes like, yeah, well, it's hard though, because I'm succeeding. So like all my friends hate me for it. And I'm kind of not able to hang out with them anymore. You know how it is in here in England, and he starts the story, and I know every freaking word before he even like begins the story. And I just couldn't be nice anymore. I was like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing to fix this? You're like, why do you put up with this with your friends? If you tell them, hey, if you do this, I am not going to freaking talk to you ever again. Y'all are gonna stop doing this shit. So why do you just bitch and complain about it instead of do something about it? And it's baked into the humor so much. It's baked into something else. And I think there's a link here where if you could break one, we might have multiple types of humor, which is, we don't need it. Their humor is awesome. Doesn't need to change. But it might break this other thing, which just seems to be a big problem.
So I'm gonna name another type of humor, and we'll see if it's on the list or not. But observational humor. I think that's what you're describing. And the best example of that I can give is Seinfeld. Now, if you try and reuse any of Seinfeld's jokes, it will fall flatter than anything else. It's only funny the first time you hear it because it's almost absurd. It's different. It's what's the deal with airplane food? No one's going to laugh at that anymore. But because he was the first person to do it and point it out, it was great and memorable.
That's a really good point. I looked, observational humor is on the list, but it having to be the first time, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I think that's what you're describing with that story. Is this guy's trying to use observational humor, but it falls flat because, again, we've heard that same story enough times.
Yeah, solid point. And I'm walking out with an American accent. He assumes that it's my first time. And, this goes into the empathy. If he was able to get better at reading people, he would have been able to tell, I'm not hiding it, that I come to Europe quite often.
I don't even know if it's that. I think it's more so just this is how things are. This is pointed out to me. I want to talk about it and complain. I'm not trying to make a joke. Even though it's coming across like I'm trying to make a joke, I'm trying to complain in a lighthearted way.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move to the next two in this category. We got blue collar, and crude humor. So sex, bodily functions, obscenities, and deliberately offensive or explicit.
Yep.
Ryan's in?
That's uh, with certain crowds. If you see someone from Silicon Valley trying to make this joke, it's gonna fall flat. But if you have people who are working 50 hours a week just in a factory or something and they're just making jokes like that, that's one of the times where I'll grab a beer, I'll come over, and yeah, this is going to be some of the worst things I've ever heard. But goddamn, do I know their life's probably shit, so they just need to laugh at anything.
Mm. Man, that's a great example of how much the context of your life changes what's going to seem absurd versus
This is something that
serious.
no celebrity, nothing can ever do. Because the moment your life starts going well, you lose the ability to make these jokes.
Do you think if you went through it before, enough to remember it?
Maybe, but even then, I feel like the jokes change. Instead of it being, let me tell these crude, bad jokes, it's, let me tell you about my buddy and the bad, awful things we used to do.
Yeah. Yeah, these are really good points. I knew you'd have a lot.
And don't get me wrong, I've worked jobs with these people who use this humor on a daily basis. And again, when everything around you just feels like it sucks, oh my god, it's some of the funniest things you'll ever hear.
You think there'd be an separate category or same category? Blue collar, wartime humor. Like if you're on the front lines of a battle,
Oh,
feels to me like that might be the exact same thing. Everything's shit. We'll joke about how bad it is just to get through.
yeah. I could see that being one and the same, but I could also seeing it be bleeding into that dark humor realm.
Mm. Crude and dark. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right for soldiers from what I have experienced.
This is neat. On one hand, it almost feels like there's these different elements, and we're seeing them. Okay, this one's combined too much. Okay, this one's a pure cornerstone that other ones can be built from. For me, I'd have to split this in half. I definitely like offensive humor, and I definitely like. I mean, I grew up there poor. I like the humor of this is crap that no one else is going to understand. You think like, oh my god, we got a baby. Like, I lived it, not dead. If I can't joke about it, I should at least get something out of this pain. Other side of the coin, I hate body humor, and I don't know why. I feel like I should, but somebody starts talking about shit and stuff like that. I've even had just girly girlfriends, and their sense of humor is so uptight. I can't joke about any sort of political thing, but they'll start making these body jokes. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what the heck? How is their humor more offensive than mine is?
I feel like there's, again, good and bad taste for this. Like, if they're just making dumb dick jokes or something like that, it's one of those things where you just go, yeah, all right, man, fine. And you just kind of walk away. But if they're just bringing like an absurd element into it or just going way off the rails, all right, now it's to the point where it might be funny again.
You make a great point there on just the dick jokes, where that's not even offensive to me. Like, yay, sex is great. But living in California, I was so fucking bored of sex jokes. It's all they ever talk about. It's all they think about. It's all they think about. This is all they try to get. And then their jokes, that's all it is. And it was the most mind-numbingly boring thing. It's like, okay, so another joke about having sex. I'm not mad, but can we move on from being 12?
Yep.
And I almost think there's a maturity, not, oh my God, sex maturity, like an actual age maturity level to these humors as well.
I couldn't agree more. And again, it's just one of those. Yeah, you said that. Sure, I'm not gonna get offended, but it wasn't funny. So
Okay, now
again,
this,
it has to be, they're in a place where everything's not going well. It's hard work. It's you're all tired, and then they just say some of the most just absurd, horrible thing, and all you can do is laugh at. Yeah, that's worse than I have it.
you're showing your theory again here, where it's people in the situation so bad that this is helping them bump up a little bit. And that's what makes this feel good humor.
Again, I don't think there will ever be a celebrity who is able to capitalize on this.
Mm.
They're just too far social status elevated to be able to keep doing that and get away with it.
It doesn't feel right anymore.
I'm trying to remember her name and I blocked the comedian out, but she was making body part jokes and everyone was just silent in the audience. And I never watched the special, even it did horribly, I remember. Like, I think it was maybe 5% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Yeah.
And it was just, yep, you did not help your career with that one.
We could have an entire another episode on why certain groups don't seem to be able to relate to general humanity enough to get strong humor connection. But we can say that for another day because
Relate to humanity. That is a good phrase. Oh,
it's my happiest surprise from all of this is realizing how much of this is developing high level empathy because a lot of comedians sound like assholes because they're saying so much ridiculous shit, but it's because they listened and actually understood people so much that they were able to get good at it. So this is my little Karate Kid training montage. If I learn humor, I might have to learn some listening skills. Then I can use them for evil.
oh goodness. I
This
see you
solves me
doing
problem.
wax on, wax off over there.
So the next one under dark is shock and transgressive humor. This makes sense. I wish ChatGPT had written this more clearly. This is the type I like. There's a little overlap between these two. I think if you take all the shock and transgressive out of the blue collar crude stuff and make its own category, this I'm fully in. So it describes it. It pushes social or moral boundaries, often about race, gender, or religion. What are the things that we're not allowed to say, and we're not even allowed to say we're not allowed to say it?
I see that, but I could also see, again, shock value just because of how absurd what you're saying is. Not even related to race, religion, anything of that. I'm trying to decide if I want to tell this story or not.
Yeah, I'm not going to edit this one. Fuck no.
We'll give the short version then. Working in retail at a Home Depot, there is a lot of older guys working there. Is almost like a retirement type gig, and great time. I enjoyed it for the most part. But first of all, no one comes into Home Depot when everything's going well in their life. So
Hey.
you're already dealing with customers who aren't in a good mood. But anyways, there was a guy we worked with that we all nicknamed him Happy because he never was. And life was not ever going well for Happy, insurance, things like that. He was on a no-fly list. We won't get into it too well. But he had some of the funniest sayings that he would just randomly drop with customers around and everything. And one of his funniest was, well, fuck me sideways with a rusty lunchbox and call me Samantha. And it is just to the point where it's so specific and so absurd that no one could be offended by because everyone was just like, what the fuck just happened?
Absurdist. Yeah. Let me a second to think. You might want to try to put your phone on
Yeah,
do
I
not
just
disturb.
realized that. Hang on.
You get an amazing bokeh when your screen vibrates.
Ah, that might be a trick I need to replicate at some point, and I nudged my screen, didn't I?
And yeah, center. So looking at that, this is helping. Okay, so we're gonna split this off. The previous one is gonna be all crude, just crude. It's not about how offensive it is. This one is going to be purely about topics you're not allowed to say. It's not about how shocking it is. It's just how forbidden the topic is or how censored it is. And then later on, we will have a category for absurdism, which is supposed to be that it's just so I can't believe what just happened.
Okay, that makes sense. And you're lucky you got that story out of me. If we weren't doing a drinking episode, ooh.
Ryan with a drink is good TV.
Well, this is Ryan with 3 drinks.
Oh, you're my hero, buddy. So with this new definition, where it's just about saying the censored topics, thumbs up, thumbs down. Down. Tell me about that.
I don't know. As someone who has worked in a bar where you're trying to make a certain setting to where everyone feels comfortable and welcome, and your tips and livelihood kind of depend on it. If you have someone who comes in and tries to do shock value humor and it falls flat, it will silence the room and make everything not feel as good for everyone in it.
Mm.
So it can very quickly turn a sour on the entire room's night, but also your livelihood. So I learned to not like that one. It's
Not
just
good for
not
service
worth
industry.
it's not worth the risk from my past experience.
That's an amazingly good point, Ryan. You would have a different relationship with it. Not, is he going to laugh and have a good time? Not, am I going to laugh and enjoy this joke? Your perspective is this going to ruin my work today that I'm going to make less money?
It's a weird situation to be in, especially when people have a few drinks in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if I like the joke, and if they like the joke, and majority of people in the room like the joke, all of a sudden there's a couple people who aren't having a good time.
And they stop tipping, they stop buying drinks.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good to know a little bit more about all this.
It might change the way you approach going up to bars and everything. Well,
nope, this is exactly why I like this humor. I hate censorship more than anything. People have tried to literally kill me when I was a child for telling the truth. And I still said, fuck you. This is the truth. And I know you know it. You cannot make me lie about it. I get more joy out of this than anyone can reasonably understand. So the very fact that the reason why we censor this is to make more money is the exact same reason that really bad stuff happened about 60 years ago. So making more money for censorship, same thing. The very demon I'm trying to fight with this stuff.
Yes, I get that. But at the same time, you need to be very careful with how you do it. It can't fall flat.
Well, this is like what you're saying is your goal out of this isn't the laughs or the fun. It's preserving your livelihood. And when I do it, it's a little bit about, it'd be nice if my friends laughed. It'd be nice if the crowd laughed. It'd be nice if I thought this was funny. But for me, the most important thing that I'm getting the most joy out of is literally, we're just going to say the truth that no one thinks you're allowed to say. And if everybody hates me, but walks out of the room that night going like, well, that was a crap night. But I know if I ever needed to, I can say that. That makes me very happy.
I can see that. That makes sense.
You do give me a lot more useful tools to use, though, because the one value is not always the most important one. So I didn't understand how important that would affect the staff working there. And so I'm like, all right, well, we're going to take this, put that in the bucket. We're going to worry about you guys making a good income tonight.
Again, time and place for everything.
Yeah. I appreciate you telling me more so I know more about, how I'm picking this out.
It's my old bartending experience and having to interact with so many different types of social groups and everything has, I didn't realize, but really opened my eyes to, oh yeah, this is this type of person. I can use that type of joke with them. Oh
I
yeah,
think
this is some guys who just came off hard shift. They just did 50, 60 hours this week. They're looking to have a drink or two, blow off some steam, and have a good time. All right, yeah, they're going to get a little bit more rowdy than my normal clientele.
I think you just told us why working as a bartender made you 20 years more wise than most people your age.
It's a worthwhile experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to a less edgy genre, personal and character-based humor. Starting up, we have self-deprecating humor, making fun of one's own flaws, identities, or failures.
This is my least favorite.
Hmm.
One of the things that I am so grateful for is when I moved to Nashville, I took the chance to kind of reinvent myself because I leaned on that kind of belittlement humor, whether it was about myself or someone else. And I made the distinct choice of I don't want to bring anyone down, including myself. I want to try and build them up, make them have a better time.
So that was the type of humor that you did walk in with from Minnesota?
Oh, absolutely. That was, yeah, I'm going to belittle myself. I'm going to belittle others. Anything for a quick laugh. And I realized that wasn't something that I enjoyed or felt good about afterwards. Didn't matter if it was making fun of myself or someone else, it just didn't feel good. Versus if I make a joke about how someone is so great, man, I can't believe it. Look at Ethan. There's no way you're just that good. Come on, man. How are you doing this? You did you get an Etsy witch to just put some spell on your videos to get people attracted to you? This can't be natural.
Such a fun joke.
All of a sudden, people are just smiling, laughing, and it's something that makes you feel better.
It's like same. Coming from Michigan, we had the same problem, and even before I left Michigan, I was like, I don't like doing this anymore. I would like to say the nice things about my friends instead of the mean things. Could we do that? And I'm struggling with this. You were in Minnesota longer, or I was in Michigan longer than you in Minnesota. I can't seem to break this. This is actually something actively on my speaking skills work list right now, where I don't make fun of other people, but whenever I can't think of a joke, the reflex comes out and I make a self-deprecating joke. And I see how much that undercuts your credibility and it kind of brings people down. I had an example. Let's see if I can remember it after 2 beers. But if you're on a team and you're out in, France and you're shooting Germans in World War II and you're the sniper and you make jokes about how you're just a terrible cook, everyone's going to laugh, whatever. But if you're making jokes about how your eyes suck, everyone's going to be like, this is a problem. Like, are you not 100% confident that you will keep me alive when I need you? You're the sniper. And I see that all the time, that they're talking about the thing I care about, and then I make a self-deprecating joke because I can't think of anything else. And it's bringing down the most important skill that's relevant. And then they go, ooh, yeah, that's going to worry me if you're not good at that. You don't want to. And so then I would switch. oh, well, I'll just make a positive joke about it. Like, I had the best eyesight. I'm a freaking demon at the sniper scope. They're like, oh, this guy's just an arrogant asshole. There's no win in there. And I'm trying to pivot because I've seen people do this type of humor in a positive way where, like I described, you make a self-deprecating joke about a skill that does not matter. You could even pick one specifically because it's so irrelevant that itself is funny itself. You know, like, oh, well, my tap dancing career is pretty screwed. Like, well, who even gives a shit about tap dancing? We know you hate tap dancing, Or like, oh, well, I guess I'm never going to be a German opera singer. Like, we're actually trying to destroy the Germans right now. This is clearly a joke, but I can't seem to do it. Every time I need this is when I'm at the gym. And the gym, I have no brain power left. So it just goes into like lizard brain mode, and the Michigan self-deprecating humor comes out. And every time I curse, it still comes out of my mouth.
So, like, give us an example of what comes out at the gym, and I'm going to help come up with a more positive example for you.
I would need more time to think about it. Yeah, I want to come back to this as its own individual topic, but I just wanted to raise that question as this is something where I think, I agree with you 100%. This has a lot of negatives and downsides. I would generally thumbs down. And now that I'm paying more attention, I'm seeing people, just like with Cyrus and his fun political stuff, I see people who do this in a positive way. And I'm trying to learn how to do that myself.
I do like your idea of bringing up something that's completely irrelevant. So if you're getting complimented at the gym about how much you can bench press, and your first thought is to do a self-deprecating joke of, oh yeah, these are really realistic balloons or something on here. That's not even weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go, oh yeah, no, I've been hitting the gym hard this week, and let me tell you, my shoulders when I get home just ache. Like, man, I have gotten to go outside, steal some of the construction equipment, and now I've got a jackhammer that I just go to town on my shoulders to make it feel better.
And I think this is an important realm because it's such duress and it's so short. Even if I wasn't in the middle of an exercise, most critical situations where you really need humor that will make a big difference in your professional life are going to be 2 seconds tops. So if you can spit out a really good, people enjoyable in the gym, I think you're going to nail sales meetings, keynotes, elevator pitches like wild. This is kind of the sweet spot. So it's a great training ground for what I want to do. I'm going to put a note here. I really want to come back to this on another day and really workshop with this one.
Real quick before we move on, how we were talking about British humor being a subcategory to where it's very defined. Do you think Midwestern humor is self-deprecation?
Yeah, I'm looking at I honestly, I hate it. It's self-deprecation and sarcasm. And sarcasm, I want to come back to if we get to the end. I hate it. It's the combination of, we say the penis joke a million times, so it's boring, and also it's cutting people down. And you go online, and this is a great thing for personal growth. Open up your favorite dating app, swipe 5 girls. All of them was like, I like sarcasm. Could you bring more sarcasm jokes? Here's my favorite sarcastic comedy. And I would rather never see you, even if that means I never have sex again in my life. That is how much I prioritize things I like over dating, where the fuck that is. So it's a quick way to realize, there's stuff I care about more than just getting every single girl. And then you start picking women that are actually a good fit for you.
So I've started kind of messing with this with one of my coworkers. I'm not going to name his name, but he's a smaller guy, very skinny. His jean legs look like they are just tiny pole. But he's an amazingly hard worker, great guy, and he will constantly make self-deprecation jokes. Like, he has a hat that just says rat in big white letters on it. He makes jokes that are sarcastic about how massive his muscles are and things like that, as he looks like a beanpole. And I've started just trying to pump him up and be not taking his jokes as sarcasm when he's being self-deprecation and sarcastic of, yeah, man, look at you. You are doing great. You just pushed in fucking 20 shopping carts by yourself. Yeah, you are strong. Go get it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build him up. I don't want him to keep tearing himself down.
I think that's a really effective way to do it. I see how the way people speak bleed over to the people around them. This sort of humor bakes into the emotions, not just your communication style.
Even him calling himself a rat. There's another guy who also has declared himself to have rat-like tendencies. And so I've got a group chat with them now, and I have named it the Rat Pack. Because guess what?
That's cool.
We're going to be fucking classy. We're going to make you guys feel like you're Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin.
Hell yeah.
It might feel like sarcasm, but guess what? It's going to be positive.
And there's one of the high levels of humor where you can take something and turn it into something joyful and positive.
And
that's leadership, man.
That is a shitty pun. That is wordplay that you don't like.
I didn't do it. Next question. Can you identify these two comedians identified by the robots as self-deprecating humor? Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Hannah Gadsby. What do you think? Up or down?
I don't know the second one, but I know Jim Gaffigan. And I don't feel like he's too self-deprecating. I mean, he definitely does it. He has a lot of jokes about his weight and his size. But it's, again, it feels like it's coming from a place of love. It doesn't feel like he hates himself because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like he's pointing out things that are just prevalent in these communities and real life examples that doesn't feel like he hates himself. It just feels like him pointing out the absurdism that we deal with.
That seems to be the spice. I'm really glad we're talking about this because you're pulling out the real critical thing more important than the title of these genres. I would say the reason I don't like sarcasm is because it feels like they actually do hate this stuff and they're just trying to cover up their insecurity by pretending. And if somebody actually is completely, no, this is completely fine, I'm just laughing about it, that's a different feel. That's what you're describing there.
The difference is like Mean Girls sarcasm versus Jim Gaffigan pointing out how ridiculous it is that we have a lean pocket.
Yeah. That is good. And his delivery is just top tier.
Oh, it's great. It's got, again, impersonation of just characters that aren't real. He can do he has, 3 voices that he does in most shows?
Mm-hmm.
But we feel the characters. We identify with the characters because their values. We almost know them.
There's a lot of value in improving your speaking skills through humor because things that you would feel uncomfortable trying in a normal speech, you will go crazy with your voices if it's a joke. And that will train your voice to do things that will help your normal speaking. One of the biggest things is try to get your melody and volume. And I was like, oh no, this is way too high. I could never do that. Like doing a joke. Okay, sure, that's funny. And then your voice gets that range for when you actually need it in real life.
One thing that I think is brilliant about how Gaffigan uses that is his high-pitched, quiet voice.
Mm-hmm.
Is the one that almost is giving a voice to the audience, and that's where the self-deprecation comes in. So he's giving his worst critics the silliest voice that's quieter, softer, higher pitched than anything else. Who is this guy? He makes a lot of jokes about toilets. And it just feels ridiculous because you're not thinking that, you're just laughing along with the jokes, and it's making his critics look bad, not him.
Yeah. That's the point I want to dive into more deeply when I think about this tonight. Uh, touching right on, the next one is character absurdity. The character is funny because they are absurd, eccentric, or extreme.
This is probably going to be one of my favorite categories. I love this.
Tell me more.
I think that peak comedy and writing comes from taking anything to its logical extent.
Logical extent or illogical extent?
Oh, to the point where logic is blurred. I absolutely love when this happens. So if you have a character who is money obsessed, let's have him have a swimming pool full of coins that he dives into like Scrooge McDuck.
Yes.
Let's just make it something where, no, this makes absolutely no sense, but it absolutely fits their character.
One of my favorite jokes I cannot get out of my head is there's a Babylon Bee article during the pandemic, and somehow it was like a mocking version of Trump that he's like irrational, emotional, and overly aggressive. And it was he broke into a hospital to inject himself with every disease so he could just fight them all off and make the antibodies. And it's not mocking. It's like, this is productive and good, but it's also, no, that is insane. That is a really, really bad idea. But, you know, that was one of the funniest things I have read in my life.
That's a good one. Again, just taking characters to their absurd natural progression is, I think, one of the funniest things you can do. Not even to characters, but just to concepts. I'm trying to think of a good example of that, and my mind is just blanking right now.
Well, the list it gave us is Zach Galifianakis, Chris Lilly, and Andy Kaufman.
Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover is a great example of this.
I feel like this would be a good drill for us to practice on. I want to do this for homework and come back and have us try this.
I am horrible at doing this in person, but I love when this is done in media.
I mean, horrible is exactly where we're going to start, Ryan. We're not going to just talk about it. We are going to unlock this freaking magic gold for us.
I am very bad at doing characters myself. I try and be genuine. I try and just be myself. I don't like to be a character.
Well, maybe you can teach me or criticize what I'm doing. I think there's a lot of mileage in this idea that I haven't tapped into.
I'm excited to see where it goes. Don't get me wrong, I'll try it, but that is not what I have ever gone for.
If you're not enjoying it, that's a deal breaker. But I have a hunch that you would be really good at it.
We'll see.
Next, we have neurotic and anxious humor.
I don't like that one myself.
Focused on stress, overthinking, awkwardness, and social anxiety. Okay, why does this exist?
Again, I'm going to point to The Office. It just feels like you're watching someone suffer for what? I don't get it.
Just jumping. Later in the list, it has cringe, awkward humor, painful or socially inappropriate behavior. What's the difference between this and that? Should we just merge these together?
I feel like there's a difference between awkward and ticking time bomb. I'm trying to think of how to explain it, but someone can be smooth, charismatic, but if they're just holding on to what you know is a hot potato, that could be funny. I think it comes down to the audience knowing something that the characters don't.
That tension.
Yes.
I like this exercise because it gives us some examples. I think I'm going to have to watch some of these and then compare it against the other category and just feel what their differences are. So to get those out, for neurotic anxious, it says Larry David, Maria Bamford, and the early days of Woody Allen. And for cringe, it says The Office,
Yep.
Ricky Gervais,
Who I also said I didn't like. Okay, I'm doing good on that.
and Nathan For You.
Not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I'll look these up. So
I have an example. I finally thought of one for Ticking Time Bomb Anxious that I think is good.
do it.
Did you ever see the oh God help me, I can't think of his name now. Can't remember the actor's name, dead now, but had a Batman movie where it's the scene where some days you just can't get rid of a bomb and he's running around trying to find where to throw this bomb.
Yeah,
Fuse
yeah.
is
Oh
going
man,
down. He sees like a bunch of nuns. There's a parade going on. There's a bunch of ducks in the pond, and he just can't find a spot to get rid of this bomb.
he was in Family Guy all the time. I can't believe. I would
Oh
like to
God,
improve at remembering names.
you know exactly who I'm talking about, and I cannot think of his name.
He's got a
But
good. It's definitely not his birth name. It's a very easy to remember name.
yes, it is.
Nothing.
Anyways, that one scene where he can't get rid of this bomb, and you see the fuse going down, and it's funny the weird little things of why he can't just throw this out. I feel like that's a good example of tension humor.
Yeah, I like that phrase, tension humor, and that clarifies why I dislike this. The famous scene of Lucy at the chocolate factory, and I'm struggling to get the chocolate, and everyone's laughing. Like this is a problem. This is stressful. Why am I happy she's stressed? And I think that is something. Hey, Weston, that is a strong tell about who I am. I think that is because I had certain experiences where I can't let go and laugh at that. And this is why it goes both ways. If somebody knows that about my sense of humor, you probably know a lot of important things about me that would help you connect with me, sell something to me, teach me. The reverse, if you talk with me, have a conversation, and be like, oh, yeah, this thing that in Ethan's childhood, that's going to make you hate tension humor. This is why the whole listening skills are, we know they're powerful. That's why I think understanding humor theory instead of just dicking around with it will be the nuclear bomb of communication skills that nobody is doing right now.
This is the same reason why I refuse to watch the TV show The Bear, is because I know people who are like these characters, who are doing drugs up till 2 a.m., then coming in at 6 a.m. to start working at a kitchen. I've met and interacted with these people. Their life isn't entertainment to me. It's not a joke.
Yep.
This is how it is.
Similarly,
It's having that experience is, again, it wasn't absurd enough for me to find it funny.
Well, this is where it's getting into now then. So I watched the first episode of Succession. I've had 3 different people tell me I should watch it for communication skills. And it's intolerable. I can't stand it. It's painful. And I spent a beautiful morning. We finally got a cool morning in Nashville, walking along the Cumberland, talking with ChatGPT back and forth about the show because I wanted to know, but I did not want to spend my time watching that painful experience. And one of the biggest conclusions I came from that, man, that was a productive day, was this is a lot like the story of the alcoholic who has 2 sons. You heard that one? He's got twins. One never
I'm not
drinks.
sure that I
The other's
have.
an alcoholic. So one's an alcoholic. The other never drinks at all. And you ask them why, and they both give the same reason. Because my father was an alcoholic. And I think these experiences, like you're saying, people like this, and that's why it's not funny for you. For the exact same reason, a different person finds it funny. It might be where they fall on the watershed line of sympathy versus sadism.
That's a good point as well. I have tried to become a more caring person, so maybe that's why I don't find these funny.
Yeah, you're successful, and the fact that you're actually trying to become more caring makes it a bigger deal to you than someone's like, oh yeah, everything's gonna work out fine. You know, like no, I don't want to like fuck this up.
Absolutely. Making that choice has been one of the best things I've ever done. But at the same
Nice.
time, you're right. It probably has limited my enjoyment of a few of these things.
Yeah, like it's been getting more clear that people talk about. They'll say something like, "You don't enjoy that because that's a problem you have," and no, that's such a not true thing. I think it might be it's you don't enjoy that because it's a problem you're afraid of having. And if you used to have that problem, you're the most afraid of having it again than anyone in the room.
That's fair.
All right, there's
That's
definitely
a
a lot
good
more
way
we
of
could dig
looking
into
at
on
it.
that one. Oh, sorry. There's a lot. You go ahead and finish what you're saying.
No, I was done. Yeah, that we don't need to turn this episode
Okay.
into a therapy session for me.
All right. Next, we have social interaction humor. Next to last. First up, observational humor. Your good friend. Humor about common life experiences. Have you ever noticed? And the first example, Jerry Seinfeld. Early Ellen DeGeneres and Jim Jeffries.
I think I hit the nail on the head with that one, saying it's only funny the first time it's pointed out.
Yeah. This has been fun. I don't know if you've thought about much about this before, but you're nailing this stuff the second we get your brain thinking about it.
I I don't think I've ever thought about the framework before, but I've definitely thought about different styles. And again, I've had conversations with friends where they're like, "Oh, you gotta check out this comedian. He's into dark humor, or this one's into satire." And
Hmm.
so there is some natural boundaries for these, but I've never sat down and clearly thought about which ones do I like, when do I use different ones. This is really fun.
Hmm. I think it'll be valuable for everyone, like me, you, anyone we're close that we want to help out, to start to understand what is the style that you like, what is the style you don't like, and then be able to start just puzzling this out. I have been talking with people who've been professional improv comics. You are the first person to have any answers for these. I would ask them,
Really,
it's just blank face, like, what genres? What? I mean, there's scripted and unscripted. No, that's format. Genres. What style do you like? And they have no suggestion, no idea. They've never thought about
I find that baffling that they wouldn't at least know slapstick versus any other form.
it. I'm telling you, man. You know how everyone talks about storytelling in business being this new thing that no one doing, and it's gonna be this cutting edge powerhouse weapon. I think this is the next thing. I think no one knows about this. No one knows how to teach it, and it has even more power in it than stories do. And that's a big claim coming out of my mouth.
I think knowing which one you want to focus on and doing that very well will make you very powerful. Doesn't matter which one you pick. If you want to go slapstick and make that your big thing, sure, you're going to be the next of the oh god, why can't I think of their name? Curly Mo, uh,
Three Stooges.
Three Stooges. Thank you. I kept
Play.
wanting to say Three Amigos, which also isn't far off, but I feel like that's more wordplay.
Well, if you have an industry and you're using this for work, I think you could hone in on, all right, maybe my humor is this, and I would rather do slapstick. But what genre of humor plays well in my field? I need to get on stage and I need to tell one joke in 6 seconds that guarantees that everyone laughs, but don't hate me at the beginning of my speech, because that will make my speech 10 times more powerful. Like, bro, that market knowledge you're going to get. Anyway, tell me a little bit about your feelings on observational humor. Up, down, conflicted?
Um, again, when you hear it for the first time, if it's done well, it's great. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
something you can repeat. You
Mm-hmm.
can't make the same observation over and over and expect people to laugh at it. It was the same thing as hearing just a stupid dad joke pun for the fifth
Mm-hmm.
time. You just get aggravated.
So this is making me so happy because I think you have completely cracked this one, and I would have never guessed it without you. This is another form of absurdist humor. But the trick is, if you repeat it, it just becomes a dick joke. I've heard it so many times before, this is boring. But the first time you hear it, it's not, oh my gosh, we're going to eat the moon, absurdist. It's, who the heck would ever care about that? Why are you talking about this tiny, insignificant thing? But the fact that it's such an insignificant thing you're bringing up is absurd the first time.
I like that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Man, you are making me sound smart. I like this.
Honestly, that's my job. I mean, you are coming up with goals, but I am studying professionally how to take an idea and make it sound intelligent coming out of my mouth. So, thank you, Ryan.
And if I can just point out, that is a version of self deprecating humor that just makes you feel better, not make me look bad.
Yeah. Keep working on me with this. You can be my trainer, and I'll get there. Anything more we want to touch on with observational humor? I feel it's a cornerstone, but we kind of know it.
I feel like too many people think they're doing observational humor when they're trying to be political, talking about agendas, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And the problem there is politics have become so engulfing. It's never the first time we've heard this.
Yeah,
It's
that was.
never absurd.
I was telling you about this a storyteller before this podcast, and like the fact that it's just not original. You've heard it so many times is the worst part of it. Uh, yeah. Okay, moving on. Cringe and awkward humor. We finally have this one. This has been a big topic for us. Double
Nope.
down.
Nope.
Double down.
Hate this. I cannot stand it.
Agreed. Fuck this. I don't know how we're friends with anyone in Europe.
Again, when it's absurd, just crazy, dry British humor, I love it. I love the Monty Pythons. I love that
Mm-hmm.
style.
Mm-hmm. They're
Ricky
witty as hell.
Gervais, that sort of just dry, making fun of yourself, making fun of other people, making the whole situation just awkward. No, why would I enjoy this? I feel like I'm watching someone just fail at every social interaction they've ever had. And I just want to help them. I don't want that. Who enjoys that? I
So,
say as my fiance loves The Office.
okay, you're just setting this story up for me. The first time I really thought, the one only time I ever thought had serious thoughts about humor, many years ago, I was in a really rough place, and I wanted anything to try to make me less sad, bring any kind of happiness. And I was maybe 5 dates into dating this girl. She was cute, she was successful. She brings me to her place, and I know what this means. She sits me down. It's like, I want to show you like what my favorite show, and it's this comedy show from Canada. And from start to finish, it's nothing but cringe, 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 cringe. And this is where I learned two things. One, God bless it, I would rather die than watch bad comedy. And two, humor is, for me, the most important way to connect romantically. I've been thinking about it actually this past week. And every single girl that I've actually had feelings for, we shared the same sense of humor. And I've been in situations where the girl is on paper amazing and very attractive, and I feel nothing. It's like our sense of humor didn't match. Even if it wasn't we have to deal with the political nonsense, we're just going to argue about it. Like, no, it's neutral. We just don't share the same humor. I just can't. And That might just be an Ethan thing.
There's absolutely times where I feel the same thing. Just watched Happy Gilmore 2 with Ashlyn. She absolutely loved it and was surprised that I was willing to give it a shot and watch it because she knew it was not my type of humor. And it absolutely was not my type of humor. There was definitely points where I was like, yeah, I'd turn this off if I had the remote in my hand right now. There's some redeeming parts of it and decent storyline, but just, man, I don't know. It just is not what I look for. And what's really interesting to me is Ashlyn is one of the most caring. She will care about everyone she doesn't know. So for her to find that style of humor funny, I almost wonder if she's just so caring that this is absurd to her, that people would let this happen.
That's my theory. She's so far away from being cruel that doesn't seem like a believable thing that would feel uncomfortable. You know?
Meanwhile, I've had experiences like that and with people like that, and no, it's not that absurd.
For sure. I relate on that. Which brings us back to, again, why it's such a powerful two-way street, that if you know something about someone's past, you can know better what sort of humor to serve up for them. And if you know what sort of humor they like and dislike, you know a lot more about their past and how to interact with them on other topics.
The fact that she knew I was not going to enjoy that one, yeah, that's probably a good sign.
Yeah, I think this lady's paying attention to you. That's always good. Okay. This one's just such a slam dunk that we're on the same page of. Not too much to dig into. But how would you classify Happy Gilmore 2? What genre would you say it is?
I'd say it's a combination of cringe, slapstick, and shock.
Okay, cool. Moving on, we got to the last of the social humor. Insult and roasting humor.
That, again, I kind of put that in the same category as belittlement of self-deprecation. It doesn't matter who you're belittling. It's not something I walk away from feeling better.
This one and your discussion actually makes me realize an overarching theory on these. I agree with you. I don't like this style. Thumbs down. We talked before about there was some where if you did it really well, it would be great. But if you don't do it, if you mess it up, it's going to be horrific. I think there's more to that. I think insult comedy is bad. No caveats, even if you're good at it. But I think a lot of these categories, there is a twist you can put on it. You can do a subversion of it. So flat out, I'm going to say insult humor, even if you're the best in the world, it's still going to suck. But there's a way to subvert it. And what I have seen is some people do insult comedy where the insults are so bad on purpose that is the thing you're mocking. Yes. Like, that is like a really retarded thing to care about. Or like, why are you even mocking that? Or like, you're so bad at being an insult comic, you know? And then maybe that delves into the world of self-deprecating humor, but it's not an aggressive tack anymore.
I fully agree with this, and I'm glad we're on the same page. There could be a positive spin on it where, yes, you're saying something that's kind of an insult, but at the same time, it's so just obscure, random, that it could be funny. Or again, the shock value of just how it's worded could be funny. Or even just pick out something so small and insignificant to what they're doing. Or even make it an inverse to where, hey, you have a really, really shaky hand. I bet that's great for making salsa or I don't know. I don't have an idea of that one right off the top of my head. That was
like,
a very
Brian,
bad
your
example.
sock collection is so ridiculously crap. You look like a guy who just grew up in the streets of Iraq. Like, How do I care about my socks? Like, who cares?
I've got a good example of this. American Psycho, when he's talking about the business cards.
Oh, okay.
And he's putting down, oh, look at this one. Mine is on matte finish with this embossed lettering. And it's just one of those, all right, yeah, who gives a shit, realistically? That's funny.
It's false mocking because you're mocking somebody that, like, that's not even an improvement. Who really cares? Yeah. That's fun. That's fun.
Now,
right
in that movie, it is absolutely not false marking. That is, he cares. He gets the one guy's card. He's sweating and just drops it. He's just so outdone, and it's a great moment in the movie. But if you tried to do something like that in real life and put someone down with, yeah, look at how much more badass my business card is, it's just laughable.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're lifting 20 kilograms? I'm doing 44 pounds. Peasant. You're like, what the crap?
I think peasant might be one of the funniest insults.
Yeah, it's a
because we're so far removed from having that class system here to where
fortunately
it is, again, to the point of absurdism.
Which is something to keep in mind, that if I was hanging out with all of my British writing teachers, class system's a big deal for them over there still. So I'd be sensitive about using that type of humor on them.
Absolutely. But if you go down to like Texas and you're eating barbecue and make jokes about peasants, that probably, well, maybe farmers, I don't know. Again, you gotta know your audience.
Yeah. Yep. Which is a whole world opening up to listen better. I think you keep on hearing how the best writers, even like authors of novels, it's about how much they learn about different types of people and they can write real characters. I think this is the gateway drug to really learning how to understand people better, or at least listen to them well.
I mean, talk about writing characters. If you can figure out what type of humor they would enjoy versus also what they would do themselves based on the background you gave them, it's going to feel way more realistic and fleshed out.
One exercise I want to throw at you right now. What if you were mocking someone's strengths, okay, for the whole insult? Now, for example, there's one of the instructors at my gym. It's really took me by surprise. He's super buff. He's one of the guy instructors. He used to be in the military. He's also a really nice guy. He looks like Superman. He always wears his glasses, and he looks like Clark Kent. And one day, he's the loudest guy. His style of humor is insults, but that's a separate conversation. He does it positively. But walk in, he's never not talking really loudly. And I'm like, oh, dude, like Superman, like, you gonna see the movie next week? And he got really freaking quiet, face red, really uncomfortable. I'm like, what's going on? And I asked him later, like, yeah, I get it a lot, and I'm not really comfortable with the fact that I look like Superman. Like, I know it's a compliment, but, I'm not used to people saying nice things about me. Like, oh, okay. So is there some way that you can turn this into an enjoyable insult where, like, the fact that you are so aware of this positive trait about you, we can laugh about it instead of, yeah, you see where I'm going?
Yes. My mind immediately goes to either making a joke instead that, oh, you're uncomfortable with Superman. I get it. You're a Batman guy. Just throw out something that, again, is so absurd that, all right, yeah, we'll laugh at it now. If he's uncomfortable with being called Superman, all right, what's your favorite Marvel hero then? Let's go other genre. The two are competing with each other. I get it. You're a fan of this genre. Let's go with them instead.
I ended up naming him Green Goblin. It seemed a good fit for him.
It's interesting.
Because the role he wants to play at the gym is the asshole. So he had to be a villain. And the Goblin, he's like a scientist dude, so the glasses and everything.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, cooking along. So we got 3 little ones left. Surreal and abstract humors. Absurdist. Surreal humor. It rejects logic or coherence. Intentionally nonsensical and dreamlike. For example, Monty Python, Eric Andre, Tim and Eric. I
I
would say
think
Looney
there
Tunes go
is
in
a
this.
difference between absurdism and surrealism.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop. Command decision. I'm splitting this right now. We're not putting these together. There's absurdist and there's nonsensical.
Yes.
Because
Uh,
absurdist is like, that's on the track, but it just went too far. Nonsensical is, I gave you a potato and now, I'm a scientist. Like, that has no connection at all.
I think the best example of surrealist is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hmm. Keep going.
The improbability drive is probably the best example of this because it is just sure it makes sense in the context to a degree, but everything that happens within that still is completely random and makes no fucking sense, but yet that's what makes it funny.
Remind me again the details of how it works. Like, I love Hitchhiker's Guide, but I forget.
So the idea was you have this big button, you hit the button, and then it's simultaneously you're going everywhere at once and it will drop you off at somewhere random that is the least probable spot for you to be in. And because you have gone through everywhere in all alternate realities, whatever, they come out of it as like a flower one time, or they're all made out of yarn another, and things like that are just alright, this is completely random. Now the spaceship's a lemon for a brief second.
I get what you're getting at. Compare this to non sequitur humor. Does this feel like it's completely detached from what happened before? Or is it still coming in some sort of surprising but related way?
It is related in that there is context, but the choices they make and where to go are completely disconnected.
Yeah. I'm going to make another category here, non sequitur. Maybe we can't solve this today. This is some marble we need to polish on, but it feels like we got degrees of disconnection. It's not just all or nothing, where you hit the, I would say absurdist, you hit the drive and it makes you go so freaking fast. Like, you go back in time until you're a fetus. Then you have surreal, which is you hit the button and it just puts you at a random place in the universe and it's kind of weird and surprising. We were a flower one time. But hit button, I go someplace else. And then there's non sequitur. I hit the drive button and it starts raining. That has nothing to do with the function of the button. There's no relation whatsoever.
Yeah, the third one, I don't think there's a very good way of doing that personally.
I personally dislike it. Thumbs down.
I can't think of any good examples of that.
Maybe I'm missing it, but that's what a lot of Looney Tunes felt like for me. Where, especially like the new one we did with like the little kid ones, it was just complete non sequiturs all the time.
There's, again, I think this is a good example of writing for it being good versus bad. And I think this is something that South Park has made their name on. It's never just been this happened and this happened. It's this happened, that led to this, which then caused this.
Yeah.
And it's very, if you look at the beginning and end, it feels completely different, but there's something connecting it.
This is actually important nowadays, but Dungeons and Dragons is a big media thing, especially for social online people. And it's all improv. And my biggest complaint with it is it starts trying to be absurdist, drops down to surreal, and always ends up in the bucket of just non sequiturs, where like this happened, completely random other thing happened. And like, why do I care? Why do I care? There's no connection.
Yeah, that's because it's hard to draw those lines on the fly. That is very difficult to do.
I think it's not. I think just no one has studied how. I think we're going to figure this out, and it's going to become really easy. and we can tell everyone how to do it.
God, I hope so. That'd make us just look like absolute magicians.
Hang on one second. So looking at it, seems what the categories is absurdist, go to the extreme end, maybe a bit of twist at it because it went so extreme. Surreal, it has randomness, but the randomness is related to where you started. And then non sequitur is just complete, no connection whatsoever.
And I think you're right. The non sequitur just, it feels so disconnected that you lose your audience.
So I'm going to put that down as no for both of us. And with the note, in my experience as a musician, this sort of thing happens when you've just had a lot of exposure. It's not so much one's better or worse, but the longer you've been in an art form, the more predictable everything becomes. So to get that same feeling of what you felt the first time you heard music, you need something very unusual until you get to the point where you're listening to just a guy banging on the stool of a piano with a hammer, because like experimental jazz, brain melting jazz. And maybe that's what the non sequitur humor is, where it's somebody who's a full-time comedian. This is what they do all the time. In order to surprise them, it needs to be completely disconnected from the predecessor.
See, I feel like there's a difference between throwing a cannon in the orchestra and having that catch you off guard of, oh my god, there's a cannon going off, versus just being offbeat and unexpected to just a bunch of people playing random instruments that have no connection whatsoever and aren't on the same beat, aren't playing the same type of melody, nothing.
That's a good metaphor. So bottom line is, this sounds like another bucket where we need to explore more into it. We don't have to solve that today, but we've identified that this is a big deal. There's a whole spectrum of nuanced things in here, and we can crack this.
Do we have any other categories?
There's one. There's 2 more items left.
Okay.
Let's nail them.
I'm thinking I've got a couple in my head that we haven't hit yet.
Yeah. I gotta go back to. So the last one under surreal and abstract is anti-humor. Deliberate subversion of traditional jokes, punchlines that aren't funny on purpose. Is this separate from non sequitur or just another name for it? They say, fuck you, dude. Norm Macdonald? His stuff is totally funny on purpose. Completely related to the topic. Anyway, Neil Hamburger and early Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman, he was famous for being unfunny on purpose. So maybe that one's correct. What do you think?
Again, I feel like it's the execution. It's playing off something that you've heard before, but making it different this time. A lot of these, I feel like, start out as those dad joke, awful puns that you've heard a million times. But instead of the punchline, they give you something else. And it's just so dry that you have to laugh.
Yeah. This is almost, in that way, this is different than the non sequitur joke, where this is something that's just intentionally, because it's overused. It's it's hearing your 7 millionth dick joke when you're 45. Like, yeah.
It's intentionally loading Chekhov's gun and then throwing it.
This makes it different than non sequitur because it does still have a connection to the premise. It's intentionally doing anything but that.
Yep. One of my old coworkers, this was his favorite style of humor. And my God, was it annoying. But it would occasionally work. The first time you'd hear it, you would just hang your head in shame and let out a chuckle. I'm trying to remember some of his favorites. What's brown and sticky? A stick. And it's one of those where you make that light, just Okay, yep, that's you got me a little bit, and I'm not happy about it, but you got me a little bit.
This is why I don't want to work in an office with other people.
Or like, what did Batman tell Robin before he got in the Batmobile? Robin, get in the Batmobile.
Hmm.
And it's one of those, again, you're just upset. You might let out a chuckle, but it's only going to make you more upset with the joke.
Yeah, this is the bullying that we said is not good for comedy.
Except it's not hurting anyone at this point.
It's hurting me deep in my heart.
It's more so just filling everyone with disappointment. And it takes a very special kind of person to enjoy and bring that upon everyone.
I would say there's probably a category, a dimension of all of these of how easy they are to pull off. And I think this is one of those. I can't do humor. I don't have wit. I am falling back onto whatever I can just grab onto while I'm trying to not crash into the earth with nothing.
I completely disagree. I think this is at its best when it's someone you have been laughing at all night, and then they drop one of these out of nowhere. To
It's
where
a sneak attack.
you're expecting a full joke, you're waiting for the punchline, you know it's coming, and then there's just nothing, and you're left almost in shock.
So a routine of this might not work, but having it be the surprise sucker punch after a string of other things could work.
I think it gets people's attention and makes them go, okay, what the fuck is going on? And then you can hit them with another better joke and leave them feeling positive. This isn't one where I'd want to end with. This isn't one I'd want to begin with.
Oh, it's like in a horror movie when you have the really quiet period to reset everyone's emotions. So when you come with something scary again, it hits hard again.
Yep.
You're not enjoying the quiet part, but it makes the rest more intense.
That's how I would use it.
Interesting.
Again, time and place for everything. I firmly believe that.
The meta level of timing. All right. So verdict-wise, do you feel up or down?
Again, depends on how you use it. 90% of the time, though, I don't think it lands. I don't think people are knowing how to use it.
I'm going to say down, but Norm MacDonald's is freaking amazing. So who even knows what anything means anymore?
All right, what is our last category?
Emotional or warm humor. So there's only one version of it. Wholesome, uplifting, cute, innocent. Jokes that warm the heart rather than provoke. Examples: Nate Bargatze, Brian Reagan, and Parks and Recreation.
See, Parks and Recreation, again, to me, a lot of it feels like that social inadequacy humor. There's definitely parts. I think this is what most of those shows pivoted into in the later seasons, where everyone's rooting for them and they realize that and change things.
Yep.
But I don't think it starts out that way.
No. It's just hard to find it, so I agree with you on everything. If you take Parks and Recreation and then remove the social cringe humor, this is what you're left with. And that's the part I enjoyed about it. There was a couple parts where I'm like, I made a smash cut of Ron Swanson. It's one of the first things I ever did when I learned how to edit.
Ron Swanson is a brilliant character, and I love that. There's some great interactions in the show. It feels very heartwarming. That is what I wish these shows focused on from the beginning.
I'm just going to put us down for both of these.
Yep.
Down.
Now, I will say there's at least one category that I think is missing.
Let me go through and see how many I wrote down. Sarcasm and sarcasm. Absurdist we covered. We're good. I'm just gonna. We covered it enough, but I'm gonna write for notation. Sarcasm is its own category that was not even included by ChatGPT because it thinks it's so crap. It should not be a category. What do you got for me, man?
Physical comedy.
Ah, yes.
We talked about slapstick. We
Making fun of midgets.
props. Just carrot head. It's not good,
Yeah.
but that still exists. Now, I'll give a physical example of this to tie it in. I talked earlier about Brian Brushwood's theory of how to get out of a speeding ticket. So, in my wallet, I carry with me get out of jail free card because that is the easiest way to get them to laugh. And if they don't like it, well, there's another joke.
Yeah.
So
man, you bring up so many good points. Keep going. Keep going.
it's, again, just having something small, physical, loaded to go is an easy way of breaking the tension sometimes. Like, there's maybe 4 bottles of Texas whiskey on the shelf at Total Wine, and I recommend them a lot because I enjoy them. I think they're genuinely good. So again, in my wallet, what do I carry with me every day so that way if someone calls me out, which has happened twice, I can just bring out, I'm a bona fide Texas whiskey enthusiast.
Yeah.
This is a metal card. This has some heft to it.
Strong.
I can just toss this down on the little tasting bar, and people go, oh, yeah, he's not kidding around. Okay.
His proof is also a weapon.
It's one of those funny little things I can just throw out and know I'm going to get a quick laugh, and it's going to lighten the mood, and they're going to take it seriously, but also not too seriously.
You know what you're pointing out right here that I never imagined before?
What's that?
That your physical humor is split into body and non-body humor. There's
Oh,
slapstick.
you thought I was making, like, dick jokes its own category.
Well, I was thinking, I'm sorry. What was the guy in Ghostbusters who ended up doing a lot of physical comedy and hurt his back? Anyway, there's, Three Stooges physical comedy, but then there's this version where it's props. And the prop version, I enjoy far more.
I do as well. Now, don't get me wrong. Slapstick style humor where people are just getting hurt can be entertaining if it's done tastefully, but is not nearly entertaining as good comedy. And I think the same thing holds true to prop comedy. Again,
Another
carrot head. Not my favorite.
Another great point you pull up is the preparation on it. The strongest power I found, trying to teach communication skills, the thing I think about the most is what's going to give you a win fastest, not what the most powerful thing that like the end game is. And one second. Preparation is the biggest thing. Where if you feel comfortable with the joke 100%, that will make it work way better than any sort of skill or correctness of the joke or style will ever change. When I told you before about humor saved my bacon a couple times, where I didn't say the right thing, but it was so clear that I was trying to make them happy that we got along and everything worked out, and they steered me what would make them happy. It wasn't because my joke was good. It was terrible. But it was the fact that I was completely confident in it because I told that joke so many times before that when it came out, it wasn't this awkward fumbling. Is this guy trying to, rob me or insult me? It's clear as day. This guy's pulling out his get out of jail free card that he prepared, and he's trying to make a joke. Like, whether I like it or not, I know this guy wants me to have fun. That's why he's going through this effort. And that gets through people's heart right away.
So again, it comes down to meaning, the delivery, and the fact that you're being deliberate trying to make them have a good time.
Like your metal card making people notice. If they can tell that you put some preparation in this ahead of time, like, he cares. This means a lot. That's got weight to it, too.
This guy is willing to hold on to and carry with him every single day a stupid metal card for that one time that I call him out on this, because he knows it's going to bring me joy.
All right. Is that all the genres that you had to bring up?
That's the one. I feel like I had another one, but I can't remember.
Okay, now, this is something where it's the doorway to Narnia. I expect a lot more ideas will pop in your head over the next couple days. As, we've thought about this for the first time, really. Send me what your thoughts are. I'll put them in the show notes. And I want to take another pass at this someday in the future, because it's just shaping the marble. You got to do it in multiple passes. Now that we've gone through all these pieces, just for the takeaway, what's one comedian or comedy or work of humor that you would like to recommend for people to check out?
Oh, goodness. I feel like I already recommended a couple.
You got to pick one. That's the curation is the service, to narrow it down to one thing for them to do.
I still got to give it to Robin Williams. If you have not seen it, the Robin Williams sketch about golf is just leagues above anything I could ever hope to accomplish.
For me, I'm going to put in Cyrus. I will put him in the notes, and I'll pick one of my favorites out for him. It's been a joy for me to see him grow. He's new enough of a comedian where there's actual change still happening, not just in his act, but his ability to create something even better on his daily fly. And the good ones are really freaking good. It's all positive. It's all unexpected. And it's just like you're talking about, this radiated feel like, bro, this guy just wants to have a good time with me. Well, this is great.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to try and watch more of them.
All right, great. I appreciate you doing this with me, Ryan. I would love to deep dive into another angle of this in a future episode. I think there's so much more here, but this gave us a vocabulary that we can start making some poetry with.
I'm going to leave a question to the audience, if that's okay. What are some styles we missed? Because I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list. I'm sure there's more out there or more nuance that we haven't dived into yet.
Yes, we have to finish fleshing this out. Good idea, man. All right, perfect. Well, until then, thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me as always.
Bye.